All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you folks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, and all that.
We go. All right. Welcome to another episode that we can't number because we be in and out and we just switched up the schedule and all that. But we're here. Consistency, right? We'll call this episode consistency. Consistency and excellence, right? Like
nice.
Maybe we don't do it numerically anymore. We just every episode now has an adjective or some describer. I don't know.
I'm gonna leave that up to you, man.
Don't leave to me. Contribute to that. Because I'll run out of ideas quick. We in new digs too, so we're live. This is our first time here at 1028 Studios here in Sharpsburg.
Swanky.
Nice swanky. Got it's a leopard couch or a zebra couch. I don't even, but it's not white and black, so I don't know what type of animal that is.
I don't even know, man, but it's dope. It's got chains on, you know what I mean? Like, we got...
Booker G, he said.
Booker
G.
Okay.
All right.
Well, they got furniture here. Let's just say if you've been following the podcast, we had one piece of furniture and that should have been on somebody's lawn. So we got actual furniture here. I'm half of your hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined as always with my co-host, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play.
We Googleable.
And Spotify at Drinking Partners. Man, talking about consistency, man, we've been asking y'all, and we will continue to ask you. Please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review. That's how we know what we're doing well. That's how we let others know that we're doing well. And that's how we continue to do well. So please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review.
Listen, you love us. You tell us you love us. And you tell us in so many ways because you've seen us on so many mediums, right? But the one way we always ask you to tell us, the one way we request your love is rates and reviews. And in lieu of that, we still accept shots of Hennessy, Glenlivet, and at the end of this episode, Noire Expedition, right? You know what I mean? We gonna look. If the more our episodes pile up, the longer the list for the tab. We're gonna have crazy tabs with these folks, man. And I don't know. I'm ready to get right into it because we're gonna label this Black Excellence because this is a Blackity-black Black company
black
as we've discussed, and it is excellent. All right, so you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get on this black journey.
I see what you did there. See, that's why he want me to think all the adjectives, because he already got his one. He like a battle rapper who just lets you do your round and he got the one rebuttal. He just wait. He got his one. All right, you got that off. You got it. But we are proud to be here at 1028 Studios, and our first guest here, we have owner and distiller. He said, make sure you put respect on his name as distiller of Noire Expedition. Kenyan Hicks in the building. Say what up to the people.
Thank you both for having me, for one. Obviously, christening the new spot, and for obviously just been trying to get on y'all's whole on your radar for Barrel and Flow Fest and all of those things, but so that more people can taste our product. So thanks for having myself and for tasting the spirit today.
Oh,
See,
speaking of that,
that's a business owner.
Right.
He sound like he networked well.
Gave it with the elevator speech.
You know what I'm saying?
Say things right away to get you to taste. All right? So,
well, you got a good product because our boy Adam Sorma reached out to us directly via email and said, "Yo, y'all need to meet him. Y'all need to get down to Lawrenceville. Y'all need to meet Kenyan." And unfortunately, I missed the Google Hangout. I got the invite. I'm like, man, I gotta get down there. But my boy Dave, did you make it down there?
Yeah, it was dope, man. I had a conversation, very much, Kenyan, he's on his dean, you know what I mean? So it was just gotta get him on the cast. I mean, if we do anything, it's drink, and then, celebrate blackness. So, I mean, it's a package deal.
Package deal, yeah. So before we get into it, because you just poured us up a little bit, tell us what we have and where it comes from.
Sure. So, Noire Expedition is an American gin, and now y'all got me like, I know, I'm already getting into my pitch.
Get into it.
Yeah, I mean.
Get it. This is the only time on this episode because you got to drink actual liquor. I don't know what this gonna sound like. So you better get all that shit off now.
It was 101.
Noire Expedition is an American gin, so it is very floral. It's citrusy, but it's still true to gin roots in that juniper flavor is carried throughout the entire taste. So if you go ahead and throw it on the nose, I know it's not great for audio, but we're doing that. And, to see that citrus come through on the nose is fantastic and very floral, like lavender, right? And then go ahead and have a taste, and I ask you to have 2 tastes. 1 sip. Let that one breathe, and have a second one.
A lot of mouth on this podcast.
And then a second one, yeah.
You're so mouthy over
Gonna
there.
have to twist your arm for that. So what you get, and you know, I usually like to let people kind of tell me, but you know, I'll guide a little bit here, is that it is a warm vanilla coriander through the entire taste that just carries the rest of the flavors. It's a little hot for a gin at 90 proof, so it's sneaky hot. All right. But all it being that smooth, it stands up in a cocktail really well. But it is different in that we believe it's complex like a whiskey or bourbon. You should sip this gin. You could have that on a King Cube and sip that all day long. Versus, you know, some gins do hit you with that big juniper flavor up front, so much so that you know, want to get it in a cocktail as soon as you can.
Right.
This gin, this spirit, what we really believe is good by itself.
You know, fuck that juniper shit, man. That shit, that's why I don't be fucking with gin all like that, because it just be like, juniper, motherfucker. And it's like, come on, bruh. You know what I mean? Like, all in my face with it. But this is, like, man, like, it's like a little sweet. You know what I mean? Like you said, that vanilla and whatnot, like, it's sweet. It's not, like, crazy piney. You know what I mean? Like,
At all.
yeah.
At all.
Like, it's just, it's sweet. Like, and like, I'm letting it just sit. And it's nice. Like, it opens up, you know what I mean? You breathe it out, you know what I mean? It smells good, it tastes good coming back out or whatever. It's not like like you want to shoot it, you know what I mean? Right? It's not like you just want, like you said, you want to immediately throw some juice in there. You're like, you know what? Let me enjoy this for what it is.
This should be enjoyed neat or on the rocks. But
Yeah.
no chaser, no mix or nothing like that. Actually, when you say piney too, so like my intro to gin was Bombay, and that's super piney, right? It's almost like, and even like when you drink a bunch of that the next day, you still like, it's like still in that weird spot that's not quite your nostrils, but it's not your face. Wherever that is, that's where it sits. But I do want to ask, and Dave, we've never discussed this. So you said this comes in at 90.
Yes.
So we drink a lot of craft beer, and we have a rule. At 9% ABV, you got to tell us before we drink. We've not established that rule for proof. You threw that 90 proof in
After the fact.
After the 2 sips.
Yeah, give me one more time.
Twice. I got kids.
Yeah, I feel like it should be over 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
40 seem kind of low.
Yeah, 40 is, you know what I mean? Like, because usually 40 is where you get, like, you know, most kind of like spirits, you know what I mean? Like, you know, 45 and then 50 is like that 100 proof is where you start to like really.
100 proof is you in college.
Yeah.
You ain't doing nothing positive off the 100 proof.
I think that as we created this gin, you know, we started at a lower proof. Okay, so rookie mistake right off the bat, learning to distill. When we were proofing this down, at the master distiller at LDC, he was like, hey, look, man, you know, you really want to get in between that 100 proof, maybe, you know, so 50% down to 40, everything in that range, right? Me being who I am and how I like to study and find the perfect vibe for what I'm trying to create here, I was like, well, let's start at 50 and we'll work our way down. Hey, 50 was a fucking mistake. Right? It's a mistake.
Yeah, that seemed hot.
It was just all gasoline.
Yeah,
right?
man.
So we start at 50, we taste it. I'm like, you know, I'm out here, I'm hurt at the distillery. And,
breathing fire.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, you want to go down to 49 now? I'm like, why don't we skip a few?
Yeah.
All right, let's go down a good bit. We went all the way down to like 41 after that. I was like, let's start on the other end of what this
and
is
get back
and
up.
go back up.
Right.
That was a lesson learned, but it's good to find out for your spirit where and what you're making. Where is that the flavor coming out the most? I had other ideas. I was aiming for percentages. You know, I'm out here trying to be symbolic about everything. 42 was the number I was trying to hit, but that's not where the flavor was.
But a Hank.
Yeah. So, you know, we ended up letting the spirit say where that was instead of trying to aim for a number. So that was a big lesson learned. But it is $42, so I still had to hang for it.
Okay. All right. Well, you got to have something in there.
Yeah.
You dropping the hints all over the bottle. All over. Like, he's leaving you clues that it's a black-owned company. Because, you know, you be like, my wife, you know, my wife. That's Angela Davis. So it's like, we be shopping and like everything. I'm like, like, is it black owned? Can I take it home? It's like, he like left all the clues. You got a black cork. So where did you source that? Like, are you painting these corks?
So look, for the packaging, we went away from that black bottle, which was the original design. But mistakes made. I wanted to do a custom bottle, but until you get into stuff like this, you don't understand the costs, right? And so a lot of the guidance to me was, chill all the way out. People are out here making bottles. Buy those bottles and put your stuff on it. Didn't listen to none of that. And, had a custom bottle made because of the shape was important to me and those kinds of things. I wanted to look good on the shelf next to the other premium spirits, right off the jump, right off the rip. And so we landed in those places, and I think that it does look premium, but we dialed back how much black was on the bottle.
Okay.
And landed on something that, people have to pick up to really get the rest of the story, and then to flip the bottle over, we put some words on there that hopefully inspire people to go to the website and learn more about what the story is behind this bottle.
Yeah, let's get into the story. So how did you get into the industry? How did you get into distilling? How did you determine, like, you down in Lawrenceville? So Lawrenceville, that's not an easy undertaking. Just
right.
You got to go in. Those margins got to be right because you got to pay for that bill.
The Larryville ain't no cheap place anymore, man.
So it's not just I want to do distilling. I want to do distilling in one of the high end markets. I want to market a high end spirit, and so it's like, all right, I got to come in and understand. I got to be fully committed. So like, what's your journey into distilling?
So if you be drinking, eventually you be making. Maybe not for everybody, but it's a good side hustle is what I've found so far. There's not a bad day in distilling is so much better than even some of the best days, sitting behind your computer.
You're drunk. Bad day of distilling, you're drunk. You might not remember.
So, I was playing a mixologist on the internet, and basically that was a passion of mine. I love to have a craft cocktail. It's it's an absolute travesty to go out and not have a quality drink. If I'm going to drink and get drunk, I'm old now. I don't want something that's trash, right?
Yeah. We started our epic nights of comedy with some craft cocktails. And whatnot.
My boy Kamal. Shout out to him. He left coasting it now. He got too much money for that. He left coasting it now. He like in the tech industry. It's like I ain't making no more drinks for free.
Well, so we, taking things more seriously, and it's kind of how. Our tech recruiting company and whatnot like that, it became something over time. The passion drove more curiosity, and for me, controlling the flavor that you get in a cocktail, what a better way to do that than to control the spirit itself, right? So going down the rabbit hole, I'm like, what's it take to, get your own bottle? Turns out a lot. Right. So
that's why a lot of motherfuckers that be drinking don't be making.
I wasn't trying to. I don't believe nothing you said after you said it was a side hustle. I'm like, you are in Lawrenceville. That is not a side hustle neighborhood. You need to be in Blonnet or something. That's a side hustle neighborhood.
So we. I say we. It's me. I started, going down that rabbit hole of how do you distill then, and what spirit. And I started gathering information, and I was on my way to starting the licensing process. And I was actually sitting right up the street from here at 446 Distillery. And I was just sitting at the bar, talking to people too much or whatnot.
Networking.
And yeah. Hey, thank you. And a couple comes in, and they were talking about a gin experience you could do with Lawrenceville Distilling Company, where parties come in and y'all get to kick it at the distillery for a day, create your own spirit, right? And they were like, you should do that. And I was like, I don't really need no party to do it. It's your boy. So I signed up and showed up, And Joe, the head distiller, he was like, "Hey, so it's just you."
He's waiting for folks to arrive.
It's like,
You thought your group was on CP time. When's your posse gonna arrive?
He's like, I'm like,
No
"It's me."
homies today.
I'm here for the education, you know. So we got a chance to spend the day together, making a gin, and I told him what I was aspiring to do, and you know, big shouts out to Joe for, you know, he sees people's vision sometimes in spirits, and he was like, "Look, man, you know, I wouldn't say, maybe it wasn't the end of that first day, but he's like, I understand what you're trying to do, and you know, we'd be happy to help you get there." And so, you know, shouts out to him for one, having that moment. They didn't have to do that at all, and took me under his wing and taught me everything I know about distilling. I learned right there at his distillery. Now, obviously, you know, the organization of Noire Expedition and all of that stuff, you know, those are my own costs. But without the education of somebody who's been there and done that before, I don't get here right now. So now, he paid it forward to somebody who just walked through his door, and that's big, man.
Yeah, I like that a lot. About, we've, you know, over the years, you know, talked about it quite a bit, but the, you know, that seems to be common in the alcohol industry. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of folks, you know, kind of like paying it forward, or, you know what I mean, like, you know, bringing other folks in, you know what I mean? Because it feels like a you know, like, kind of, I don't know, like a craft, right? Like, it is a craft, but like, it feels like one of those crafts where, like, people want to, like, other people to come in, right? You know what I mean? They want people to join and get it. Because, like, sometimes it can be lonely, you know what I mean? Like, because alcohol is everywhere, but not everybody is, like, making it. So, like, to be the alcohol maker, like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you know, everybody's like, oh, man, da-da-da-da. But, like, sometimes, you know, it's like entertainment and whatnot. Folks don't really understand how much work goes into it. And, like, it's not just the party aspect of it. Right. It's a real serious situation and whatnot. And sometimes I feel like that's, you know, people want other people to come in so that they can kind of experience that and be like, oh, so this shit ain't just, you know what I mean, like, you know what it is, you know, and having that respect for it, you know, like, it's been a dope journey. I mean, I love it so much that I ain't never gonna do that shit. That shit is hard as hell.
Yeah, I'm not good with that type of stuff.
But why gin?
Yeah, fantastic question. So I love whiskeys and bourbons for sure.
Yes, I love it. I mean, like a good scotch, a good, you know what I mean, rye.
And there are so many.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many, and also the process, right? Distilling is already cash intensive. All right, so you're talking tens of thousands of dollars just to get yourselves going, and then you're like, all right, bet we're all the way there, and we're making whiskey or bourbon or what have you. Go ahead and wait. Right. And
oh yeah, because you got to sit on that motherfucker, man. You need space and time.
Yeah, just sitting there, just talking about how good it's gonna be, right? And hoping and wishing and waiting, you know.
Ooh, we just gonna be some shit.
and then the second part of that is with whiskeys, bourbons, is you're leaving these flavors up to whatever the hell's happening. All right. So, you know, no knock on that. That is a part of the craft and why it's so amazing to me how good they come out. I'm out here. No one's going to come for me from the whiskey community. I don't know why I'm doing this for them.
Man.
I'm softening the blow. They be like, oh, somebody in the gin community out here. Shots fired.
But is it like that? Is it divisive in the spirits industry? Is it like, oh, you on the gin set over there?
The gin coast.
You a Hoover. You a Hoover over there.
But I always feel like I'm softening the blow.
Bourbon.
When I'm explaining why I went to gin, and I feel like I'm softening the blow for no one. No one who makes whiskey is like, hey, man, watch your mouth. When you're talking about
I heard you on the Drinking Partners podcast.
So we just sitting?
And waiting and
so
wishing.
We just sitting, huh? Okay.
So, but you're leaving the barrel, you know, to do that work. You're leaving the temperature, you know, the those years and that time that goes by, which is amazing for the flavor when it comes out of the other side. Love whiskey and people that taste wine. Like, you smell that on the nose. That's a Oh, that's the beginning of a recession. I can
Right? I'm about to say, man, because I mean, your whole shit could burn down. You can go through recessions and shit.
Yeah,
like 3, 4, 5 years. Like that's a long motherfucking time to be sitting on some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you gotta have like motherfuckers that get into bourbon and shit. That's old money. You know what I mean? You ain't coming in there like oh, I'm gonna just try to get on some hustle type shit. You gotta have long money. Like, yeah, I mean, if that fucking building burned down, that's probably for them. That's a side hustle. I feel like for bourbon motherfuckers, that's a side hustle.
And at least starts at something.
Yeah, right.
They trying to get out of their current whatever situation they in. They got a 5-year plan to be up out of there.
Right?
Yeah, you need space. You need it's so cash intensive, even more so than distilling other spirits, in my opinion. So, for me, I'm an iterative kind of guy. Like, so what I try to do with landing on something that is representative of where I'm trying to go for the flavor of what this spirit is. Right, with whiskey, bourbon, that's not going to be completely in my control. But with gin, we could do a run this morning and we'll know by tonight whether or not it's trash, right? So you'll know basically right off the still, what have we done here? And then, maybe you let it rest a little bit, a couple of weeks or something. But that's such a quick turnaround for me in the way that I work to say, okay, let's pull or push back or change the flavors in this way. And we could do that next run and know. Right. So it's just a quicker process that really fit my style. And then, the last point is I just love gin. Right. Okay, gin is good as hell. And, shout out to all the gin people in the gin set. And, what I'm saying? We don't really rock with tequila. We don't really rock. No, I'm just kidding.
I can see y'all not rocking with tequila.
Unit.
Yeah. Y'all probably look at tequila as just a bad gin.
So, but I think that telling the story through a spirit, some of that stuff is happenstance. I wouldn't say I planned all of this out, but telling a story through a spirit that you probably wouldn't expect from somebody, I think has been also a powerful part of what this has been so far.
So what is gin?
Mm-hmm. So it has to have juniper in it. Right. It could be macerated. So what that, you can take juniper berries and let them sit in the alcohol base and then run it through a still. Or it could be.
What is the alcohol base? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I mean, like, because I know, so rum is like cane sugar, agave is tequila, beer is whiskey and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, what's the base for gin?
So for ours, we use corn. You can use wheat as the base. And then, from there, like we use like a high proof, it comes in totes. So the spirit is already there. We don't do grain to glass.
So it's like moonshine.
Yeah.
Grain to glass.
Yeah. So like Wiggle is grain to glass and I think
don't
maybe
mention
Don't
get them started over there.
It's always fuck Wiggle over here. In case you were wondering.
A lot of folks out there with that.
Yeah.
So, like when we launched on the side point here, I was like, hey, we out here distilling brand, Pittsburgh, ran a little paid ad here locally. Somebody immediately came on and like threw shade at Wiggle, like on our social media. Like you really got like
that was in there.
Oh, they earned it.
That was in there.
They earned it.
They was waiting for that opportunity.
All Pittsburgh distilleries are on notice.
You might see that on like a movie review.
Like, what the fuck they got to do? Yeah, this is Rotten Tomatoes, man. So, but you can go corn or wheat. Maybe I think the corn has lent itself to some more of the sweet that we get out of ours, but then it has to have, for it to be a gin, it has to have juniper in it, right? Whether it's one berry or thousands, it has to have that in there. And then you can, so the maceration, or you can vapor infuse it. So which is what we do, run it through a column still that has a gin basket at the top. So as you're heating that base spirit up, it's rising through the column and then passing through your botanicals before it condenses back into a liquid to come back down for you to collect it.
The botanicals.
No, that I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Man, that sounds luxurious.
I was waiting for you to say fermenter and boil. I'm like, I hear this a lot. Those are what I hear. What is? I've never had a beer.
Sound like a spa. This is a spa day for your alcohol. You know what I mean?
Botanical. That's what gives it the floral flavor.
Yeah, I guess.
I just made that up. I don't know.
So that's all the ingredients, the botanicals, right? So it can be lavender, it can be vanilla, it can be orange peel, lemon peel. And I'll be honest with y'all, like, having only done this for but so long, that's actually the best execution on my explanation. Like, even when you asked, you're like, what is gin? I was like, oh. Get this right. People are going to hear this. The whiskey community knows. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I remember we had, I don't know, it was a long time ago, we had somebody on and they were talking, they called it bathtub vodka or whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
I do.
It was
I don't
like,
remember who that was. But
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was basically like bad vodka that they threw a bunch of shit into to kind of like give it some flavor so that they can like, you know what I mean, or whatever. And I don't know if vodka has more of a potato base. You know what I mean? But with this has, and that's why I was kind of surprised because it does have more of that corn liquor, you know what I mean, kind of like the sweetness to it as opposed to vodka, which is a bit more bitter and dry, you know what I mean, like in that and whatnot.
I'm not sure. I know that vodka can be potato based. And vodka, as they say in the biz, vodka pays the bills. Because, you know, you can move it at volume. So, but you can use different bases for vodka. I don't think the only thing that gets stringent is when you are making whiskeys, like if it's a bourbon, it has to be like 51% corn or something like that, or else it'll be a rye, right? Yeah. And so, but it's a little bit looser with gin and vodka, which it definitely plays to my style for one, that, you know, like you can throw some shit in the still, some flavors you like, and just run it through. You can call that shit gin, right? One juniper berry, right? And now it's gin. Or,
oh shit, that's all it takes? Just the juniper?
Yeah.
So are they bastardizing it a bit? Like, is somebody out here like making pseudo gin and calling it gin? Like,
I would imagine so. I think that people will know. They'll be like, it's not really hitting the way gin's supposed to hit.
Yeah.
But like you were saying earlier, you know, that it's not a harsh gin. And one thing for me is I felt like going down this journey that other gins always have something to prove about being gin, right? So how heavy that juniper can hit you in the face, like, who are you trying to prove? Yeah, like, I believe you off the gin. It says gin
we
on the
get
bottle.
it, bro.
Yeah. So, you know, I had gone to some craft distilleries up in upstate New York, and their gin was it was like chamomile. It was, you know, just so different, just smooth. And I was like, oh, this can be something, this spirit can be something different. It doesn't have to be this harsh. And that set me down the creative path of what I wanted my gin to be like, experiencing those things in the craft area.
so with so much variability, like, what makes a good gin?
You know, it's up to it's you know, so subjective, right? Just like anything. But to me, you know, I don't want to be given plain, regular, juniper heavy gins for the sake of calling it gin anymore. You know, if that's, you know, what's available, you know, at the bar, that's fine. But, you know, if I have my choice, I mean, craft for what gin is, I think this is almost a gateway gin. You would have another gin having had this first, right? Like, you'd be like, oh, if this was your first gin ever and it was smooth and sweet to you, then you'd be like, oh, I would try more of what that spirit is. But I feel like, for me, why I'm saying it's subjective, a harsh gin for me is great for a martini. I love a dirty, really aggressive martini. It's, you know, it's just kind of olive juice and like it's basically chilled gin.
Man, right? I love dirty and aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass. I'm a newlywed.
So, you know, I think that for other, you know, the kind of ginophiles, the folks who spend a lot of time with the spirit, I think that a good gin to them is something that still stays, you know, true to some of the traditions. A London Dry, an American gin, or what have you. They love a really good dry gin. So, you know, I was really nervous coming out with this, wondering if it would be accepted by you know, other distillers or people who love gin in that way. But it has been so far.
Because of the black cork?
It's the black thing.
They pop like, what is this?
Well, even the writing on the back,
I was just reading that.
I'm going to go in, I'm going to hit myself with a spot here on your podcast. So on the back of the bottle, Noire Expedition American Gin is a celebration that looks to our past to motivate our future. An American story that happens to be black is what you'll find in this bottle. Experiences built on the shoulders of and by the hands of black American hardship that has birthed growth, optimism, and prosperity. You know, that in itself as I watch people from all different backgrounds pick up the bottle. Right. And I'm more so than when they have the taste. I'm looking into their eyes in this current climate and where we live, and I'm wondering what that reaction is going to be like.
Is you closet racist, motherfucker? Yeah, I mean, let me see you twitch.
Do they have a tail? People have a tail. Like,
yeah, the eye twitch, like, oh,
furrows
shit.
a little bit, the brow furrows. It's like,
But my bias of what I think of America is I need people to be able to hear that story and be excited about it if you're rooting for what this team is. This story, it happens to be a black story. It's still an American story. That's my story, right? And it's not different than the other American picking up the bottle. And so what I'm, I wouldn't say people coming out to the distillery. I'm not looking at you, each one of you, but
a certain percentage.
But I'm looking for that.
You never know, so don't be racist.
They don't have to appreciate it. It's just, I think, just like any other American story, it's beautiful.
So what market research led you to put a personal message on the bottle? I feel like that, because that didn't just, that came from the heart, but that was also crafted. I think during a run, you wrote that. What run of gin did it take? Because that's well written, and we also would like for you to do our drops at the beginning of our episodes.
So, along this trying to create this spirit, over the past maybe 4 or so years, my Aunt Darlene has done some great work to find our family's history, dating back to our eldest ancestor, Moses Godfrey, who would have gained his freedom at the age of 25. He was born around 1840. And so he's who we can trace ourselves back to. And, kind of traveling back down to Georgia, a place that I've always had a little bit of a torn relationship with, because I was raised in New York, and you're reading through history and you're like, dang, they was out here doing that in the streets down there, and you're like, well, I'm in a union state. I'm in New York, and it's all, and right. Show me the place that doesn't have racism, right? But that's through the lens of traveling down there, and it took so much time for my heart to heal and understand that my family, they haven't left the same square 40 miles since Moses Godfrey would have gained his freedom. So what they stayed for is worth fighting for, and it's just as much ours as it is anybody else's, right? So along the learning those things from my aunt's research into our family, I wanted to pour that into what this spirit is and the journey to celebration, as we have a myriad of people that are successful at this stage in our family. I have my brother will be one of our first PhDs. This is my second organization, being an entrepreneur. I have cousins who are leaders in the military, and we all have military service. Through this journey, we found 2 people that in our family that were children of Moses Godfrey, who we have their draft registration cards for World War I.
Wow.
We've always served in this country, and including myself, having served in the United States Marine Corps. Look, you can't tell me this ain't mine too. And so it being an American and a black story, people need to know that before you're out here having a taste. You cannot commoditize what this is Blackity-black Black. Right?
You reaching everybody. You got the Blackity-blacks. You got the flag bearers. It's like, yeah, this is beer for this. I'm sorry, this is gin for everyone. Absolutely. That's dope. That actually just made me feel like, damn, I probably should do the swab and send it out. I just don't be trusting the results I'm gonna get. I'm like, they could tell me anything.
So that's the beautiful thing about my aunt's research. She actually, getting on the internet and doing that thing really ain't her vibe.
Right.
She went to courthouses. She pulled census information. Going to these physical places and pulling this information. She did it all by hand.
Wow.
So shouts out Aunt Darlene.
Shout out to Aunt Darlene.
Yeah, I don't want them to make a clone of me, man.
work.
I just feel like that's what is going to happen.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's in the swab and shit, and then next thing you know, they replace me and shit. You know what I mean?
Wifey was hitting me with the, let's do it. I'm like, I don't know, man. They could tell me I'm from anywhere, and I just take it and just be repping sets I ain't from.
Your life's going to be different right after you get that information, right?
Well, I don't know. You got your ancestor had a cool name, like Moses Godfrey. That's like, yo, he really from the past. Like they stopped doing both of them names in the 1900s. So we know this is real.
So it is cool, but here's the wild part, man, is that one of his sons, one of his many children, homeboy's name is Lumpkin. All right, so
I don't know how
You can't say that with gin in the throat.
That's his
God
government.
damn, you almost killed this man.
That's his government name, man.
This is so wrong. It's not his fault.
So look, me and my cousins and whatnot, we was joking around like, look, man, you got to keep going because if my boy out here Lumpkin, like he bagged, he got his
Like
wife.
a verb. My boy out here Lumpkin, dog.
He got married and carried on with that name, and you cannot give up. You cannot give up when he pushed through with that.
I wonder what the nickname.
Man, shit, you get lumped up fucking with Lumpkin. You know what I mean?
But see, they wasn't rapping when Lumpkin was out.
No, I feel like a boy named Sue, right? You know what I mean? You give him a name like that, he gotta fight.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Funny that you said that because as soon as you start talking about Lumpkin, my cousin Evadio just called, and
Evadio.
I've never met anyone with that name.
that sound like a drug dealer. That's a straight, you know what I mean? Evadio.
I don't even know what it means. And I don't know if he know because he went by JR. So so it was just like he abandoned the whole structure of the name and everything. Like shout out to the folks who just you go through life with a name that you like. You know what? If it could have been like my name is Edward, so I'm like, yo, if my name could have been Sean, I'd have like 6 different more girlfriends. Like I was an Andre. Those were the cool names when I was growing up. Andre.
Evadio.
Yeah.
That's a cool ass name.
It's
man.
a unique name.
Yeah.
But I've said it to people. I mean, people be butchering his name. I'm like, I don't think it's that difficult to say.
People can't hit Kenyan. People cannot execute on that name. And then
know
it
which
also,
people.
but it always prompts more
That's
questions
a whole
than,
group of people.
than answers. Where are you from? Right? I'm from New York. Yeah, but Kenyan, come on, like, where are you from?
Yeah.
Okay, you got me. Upstate New York. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What part of New York are you from?
Corning, New York. I mean, it's southeast of Buffalo, south of
Oh,
Rochester.
Griselda. They Buffalo.
Man, Buffalo Griselda, you know what I mean?
So look, the Buffalo situation, growing up in Corning, it's 2 hours away from Buffalo. So, that I could have been a Bills fan, but they didn't come through 4 years straight.
Yeah,
and,
but they was there.
They were there. The Buffalo culture never seeps far down into the rest of the state. And then everybody from New York City has a completely different vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I feel like if, like I said, having this conversation recently or whatever, but like, I feel like all of my opinions on liquors are based on like shitty liquor because you know what I mean that's when you get introduced to it in college. That's what you can afford and whatnot.
Southside liquor.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean, like, but now as I get older or whatever, like, man, I'm starting to enjoy some shit like tequila. I had like good tequila on the rocks. Man, that shit is nice. You know what I mean? Some mezcal, you know what I mean? Like, and various things. Now gin. But, like, how do you get it to be smooth? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how, like, what's the, like, why is there so much rough shit out there? You know what I mean? Like, when you can have that.
Right. So for our spirit, going through that experimentation is how we got here. I actually set out to have a more peppery and citrusy gin. So Cubeb, which is a Tunisian black pepper corn, is a feature in what this spirit is, but it's the initial base of what I was trying to hit towards to have some spice and some bite, and then on the citrusy side, right? I was less concerned. I knew the juniper would come through. Vanilla as a botanical is something that we worked into and worked through a couple of different processes. And through that first run, we could get some of it. And I'm like, oh, we got to go further with what that is. And so we, took it a little bit further and further to get where we're at now, but we didn't want it to be gimmicky, right? As soon as you, especially for a clear spirit, if it's vanilla or it could be cranberry, whatever flavor that you're reaching towards, then all of a sudden it becomes a fruit gin or a vanilla gin, and that's not what we were aiming for. We wanted notes of what that is, right, to get it smooth.
So gin,
right,
with notes of things.
With notes of things, for complexity. So we working through that process. I'm really amazed with how hot at 90 this is, but the smooth and sweet of coriander and vanilla, I think, really tone that heat down and makes it smooth.
Man, it's dangerous, man. Like I'm drinking too much of this too fast. Like,
you over there going through it.
Yeah,
like you at the fest.
Yeah, like it doesn't like let you know. Like, I mean, you drink it and it's just it's
Well,
it tastes good and it's not hot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it's, even like like bourbons and like whiskeys and things of that nature, they kind of like let you know that it's in there. You know what I mean? You can feel that for a bit or whatever. This is like deceptively just like there's, like you said, because I feel like gin and all that has, I don't know what that barrel and it has so much like, whatever. With this, it's light. Yeah. And like you said, it just has those like notes of like flavors, like flavored water, like for real. You know what I mean?
I think that, again, getting back to the complexity of sipping, a complexity of a spirit that you sip by itself, I'm so proud that this is where we landed at, that, it can be good in a cocktail, but someone can go buy this bottle, sit down, and I'm excited for fall, those months where you could sit down and still have a clear spirit on a King Cube. I think this can stand up to that stuff.
See, I think to today's point earlier, I've moved away from cocktails because you're looking more like as you mature and you get older, you're more about the experience of what you bring in or put into your body. So it's like I want to get that straight from the brick into the bottle. So I'm wondering, are there rules? Because it almost seems like you make the cocktail for me. Like when you think about like what corn you're gonna match with what botanical, like are there industry rules like, well, this corn you should pair with this botanical, or are you always just discovering and just being like, hey man, I'm gonna just try some shit and see how it go?
There is a kind of my guider here is what's called a gin wheel. And so on this wheel, it has botanicals all the way around. And what's opposite on that wheel kind of gives you some guidance as to what might balance out the other thing.
Okay.
Right. So there's not hard, fast rules, but, certain guidelines like lesson learned on lavender. All right. So we went to use some lavender. And turns out a bunch of lavender will make your gin incredibly soapy. But I didn't know that until, looking at the gin wheel, talking with the master distiller over there, Joe. And, so it's not a rule, but you can fuck around and find out if you want about lavender making your gin soapy, right? Like, that's on you. So I think that when you are trying to come to a balanced flavor, this gin is very representative of how I approach a cocktail, actually. Right. So it is smooth. I lean sweeter cocktails. I love an old fashioned with like a really great simple syrup, that like that sweet against what the bourbon or whiskey in is great to me. An aviation, a whiskey smash, those kinds of flavors are awesome to me. And so I think that kind of guided how we came out here.
Yeah, I love a good old fashioned, man. That's my because it's like barely a cocktail. It's just like, it's just like kind of showcasing the whiskey.
Right.
Yeah, like, so that's pretty dope. And I don't make cocktails at home, but when I'm out and about from time to time, it is like a good cocktail, like that's like kind of like different. Like I've been like finding like my favorite is like the spicy sweet combinations that be out there and shit. Like, like I can't drink a lot of them, just like too much sugar, too much this, that, and the other, or whatever. They get a little dangerous, but it is nice once in a while to see what you can do with that base. Like I like to have the base first, then have it in a cocktail to have that like, oh shit, that's what you're doing to it. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's too much, like you said, that we're getting to a point where, as you're aging, you're like, dang, I cannot crush a bunch of sweet stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I can't.
I can't have 18 ounces.
Yeah. It's just all lemon juice. It's Kool-Aid. It's just, right? So you're getting to a point, like for me, I'm 34 and, I'm just at a point where I want the spirit itself to be really well done, and I can appreciate, some of the notes and things that I'm getting. Whereas, I think it's probably a thing with life, right? When you're younger, you're just like, hey, what are you drinking for one end? Yeah. We're trying to get to a certain place.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not the speed now. Now we're all just kind of suppressing down the pain.
That got dark.
Sorry.
Well, yeah.
On this black journey.
We now drink straight.
Yeah.
We drink neat at the bar, and it's a tab of one.
Yeah. Like an old detective flick and shit. Yeah,
right? Like, yo,
leave the bottle.
Yo, we now drink like the detectives on The Wire.
Right? Like a noir flick.
Get a double.
So, like, what do you, I know you're just getting into it. This is the thing and whatnot, but what's in your future or whatever? Do you see variations of it, flavors and whatnot? Do you see, and then also, is there like, are you putting out coming into it as a mixologist or whatever, is there somewhere somebody can find like some like custom cocktails that you've made up for this bottle?
Put like a little list of this.
So
recipes.
We're definitely working on those aspects of different cocktails that work well with it. It's so nuanced, so early on, we still are figuring that out ourselves, to be honest with you. So I do hope that when we get into the latter part of this year, that we'll have some things like that put together. Next, in terms of variations on this, absolutely. I have a hope to get a hold of some port barrels or something along those lines, something with a sweet, like wine already in the oak itself, and then let some of our gin rest in that. I think that those are vanilla and citrusy flavors up against something like really, really sweet but oaky. I think that will give us something really good. And then, we're going to do different versions. I think that maybe we're going to go a little bit hotter than this. But, the same thing, you're looking for what is true of your brand. And I think that it's going to be important for us to stay true to being smooth as a gin. But I do think that we can go a little bit hotter, maybe not with this same recipe. And then I don't know if this is a good time to get into it about like the future of the organization. That my hope is here. Well, we're off sometime in the future. So we just like verbally committed to a space, a building of our own in Lawrenceville.
Okay. Congratulations.
So thank you. And it's just timing. The opportunity to acquire a building in Lawrenceville, definitely not. It's cash intensive, just like the rest of this, right? But I feel like that opportunity was never going to present itself again for us to move Noire Expedition into its own space to grow what we're doing here. We got this bottle to market. Turns out I love this shit, right? I'm having a great time. So I'm all in. I want to, continue to learn as a distiller, but I've building this as a business and as a beacon for people to, people from all different backgrounds, go do something completely different that no one's expecting of you. And that's kind of the thing that I, down the side of the bottle, the journey to celebration, everybody has to take their own journey and, just do something completely different and celebrate what that is that you love. I hope that inspires people.
So what do you see that the Noire experience? How do you envision that down the road? Because I see, you're branded here. You got the dope hat. You got the shirt. So you obviously with the bottle, and you obviously pay attention to presentation. So like, how do you plan to differentiate that experience for individuals who come in?
I think that so far this has been the case. The story has to be real, right? Like we were talking about earlier. Why did I give a personal story? It has to be real and authentic to differentiate, why should people care? Not to plug anybody else's brand, but, for me, I remember when Uncle Nearest came out, and man, like I was so touched by that story actually coming out and being told, and it was authentic. And shout out to the folks that founders of that organization, because they leaned deeper and deeper into the authenticism. So I don't know how many stories of myself I have, but if I'm just authentic and I love the spirit, I know that we'll differentiate ourselves. And I think we already have in just being different than other people in the space, right? My experience is different than what theirs is. So I'm not a marketing genius or anything like that. I just think that the spirit has to taste good, right? But then on top of that, an authentic story, I think, is going to set us apart.
Authentic gin.
Man, what is American gin?
Authentic.
Not like, it's authentic. It's got like bald eagle in it. And sometimes
Jeep beer.
We throw like a Big Mac in the still, stir it around. It's less dry, and those floral notes like start to change it from like a London dry gin to an American gin. So
we like our shit sweet, man.
Yeah, ain't that our flavors, right? So I'll lean in who we are, and maybe we'll do a London dry, something more traditional in the future. But right now, I think that this is just so big and robust in its flavors. So we're gonna stick right here in our lane for a little bit.
Do you, in the future, plan on naming some variation Lumpkin?
Oh man.
And if so,
man.
what would it be?
Oh, see,
What would be that? What would be that one?
it's like being put on the spot. Like, whose line is it anyway? Style. To be like, come up with a gin. The name has to have Lumpkin in it. Yeah, right.
His corn or wheat based. That's got to be. That's wheat based.
His name is in the story. And, look, I can't help but laugh at stuff, man. Obviously, shouts out in respect to who that guy was.
Oh,
and
no
my family.
doubt. Much respect.
But, look, this shit is funny. That's a funny name. And so, when we do our variations, I'm probably going to leave that one off. Okay. All right. But just to answer the question straightforward, it ain't no Lumpkin edition coming in 23. But, I do want to keep it, all of those names in honor, as we tell our story for sure.
So what is your favorite form of
I was
potato?
just about to say, I think this would be an appropriate episode for that.
Yeah.
Even though I hate vodka.
Favorite form of potato?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, it's the waffle fry, right? Specifically, it's not just a fry, it's the waffle fry. And I'm surprised in
He's
terms
listened
of...
to episodes.
He had that on top. He got to act surprised, like, oh man, you caught me off guard. Waffle fry.
Twice baked.
It's got to be the waffle fry. It's crazy that Chick-fil-A was able to capitalize on that. It was in front of us the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? It's disgusting that they just took it off from underneath our noses and capitalized on it, and I love them.
Man, they are a great dip and fry, man.
Yeah.
I'm just enchanted by Chick-fil-A for some reason. I just don't understand why their service is so excellent. What are they doing in their orientation?
They're hitting people.
They gotta be. Something is happening. Something is happening why this little teenage white girl is so nice to me when I come through, and they just know your name, and they're so. And it's always, the fries are always hot.
It's because they're a cult, man.
It has to be, man. I know some little shit came out about them, and it was like, oh, that's questionable. But damn it, those fries are good, and that chicken is always fucking tender.
Yeah, it's easy to get good service from cults. You know what I mean? That's just the fuck. You ask the Mormons. I mean, they make great underwear. Shit's so good it's magical, apparently. You know what I mean? They make, you know what I mean?
Chick-fil-A, we were leaving we were leaving the one up north in Erie, and the dude, like, he grabbed my trash, like I was trying to run it to the trash can, and I was like, oh, thanks, man. He's like, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was
he was going to get beat. Yeah. That's what I mean. That's his.
I tried to hit him with, like, have a great day, but you cannot have a great day them. You cannot get the last word on that one. So I'm like getting in the truck, I'm like, have a great day, and he's all, you have a great day.
Yeah.
Almost forcefully.
I think the chicken spot.
And then he pointed to the camera.
Yeah.
I think the chicken spot from Better Call Saul was like based on Chick-fil-A.
Probably.
Because they were like super service oriented too, but he was like this big,
Yeah.
shit.
Probably.
Narcos is funding Chick-fil-A.
The
The whole time. It's Coke in that chicken. All right. So let the people know, one, I want to, before we close out, wonderful gin. I'm like a huge gin person, but like now I'm intrigued.
Thank you so much.
And it is like when you say smooth, I think we haven't done enough service to how smooth it is. Like it really, I don't even know if it's really a gin. Like I'm just like, this ain't the type of gin.
Yeah, I don't know if I like gin. I like this gin. You know what I mean? Like I'm not about to go out and start ordering gin. You know what I mean? Like if it ain't this, like you got to start introducing me to other gins.
Like what are good
That's
gins?
Where it's at, right?
And we're not gonna do that on the air. Right. We're talking about Noire Expedition, but let me know of these gins that people enjoy. I was nervous coming into this episode. I ain't even gonna lie. I was like, yo, I'm gonna have to sit here and like I don't even really like gin.
Suffer through.
But he black. So
for the cause.
For the culture, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I taste, I'm like, damn, this I don't even know if this is gin.
Yeah,
so
man.
I mean, for the listeners, we don't be bullshitting. Like this is real. So let the folks know where and how they can find you, because everybody listening has to get down to Noire Expedition and try this out.
So right now you can buy bottles online at www.noireexpedition.com. Also a great place to go and hear the rest of that journey, right? We couldn't fit all of Moses' story on the back of the bottle. Wish we could. And then you can go down to Lawrenceville Distilling Company and buy bottles in person there. So here's the one thing that we're continuing to work on is we're hoping hoping that we're right on the edge of being able to distribute nationally. Selling over state lines. So continuing to work through that, but we're right on the edge right now. We have some partners lined up there, so hopefully soon. But right now, if you live in the state of Pennsylvania or in Washington, D.C., you can order a Noire Expedition online and have it delivered to your house.
All right, don't get no racketeering charge. Just tell them the address.
So 5410 Harrison Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Y'all come on down, and we'll spin some cocktails. You know, we do encourage people to sip the gin, #sip the gin. But, you know, it's phenomenal in some of the cocktails that we're whipping up down there.
All right, Day, let the people know where they can find us if they haven't found us because they're already listening to us.
Man, you know what? We are the Drinking Partners. If you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. And you know what? I forgot, man. We actually got a TV show. You can find us on Very Local.
Hey.
Yeah.
Holla at your boys.
Yeah. Yo.
You know what I mean?
Stream that first season. Stream that first season. It was fire. Keep streaming it so we can do it again. You know what I mean? And maybe if we do Larryville, we definitely going down.
Yeah.
To Noire.
Oh yeah, we in the building. That's just it. That's automatic.
Gotta happen.
That's automatic.
And that episode is gonna be terrible because after we leave that spot, everything's bad. I'm crawling out that motherfucker. I'm like, we need another take. We need to do another take. I was fumbling my lines. Yo, but thank you for coming out. Thank you for exposing me and like I got shit to do now. Like it's like you've opened my life up because like you know when you married you got so
You got the thing.
Yeah.
He said like I had an affliction.
you got I see your head. I see it.
You got that thing on.
You out here. Shackles on my feet so I can dance. So when you be having to find shit to like do that, you're like, yo, this would be a great experience for us. It's like, yeah. So now it's like, yo, let's go try some gins. Like, and I know a place. I know a place. Yeah. So yo, much respect to what you've done. Especially, I mean, just coming in brand new. Like I don't know how you go up from here, but I'm definitely on board for the journey. And yo, you already know the journey here. As always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family, and we is about to drink some more of this. This is really fucking good.
Yeah, man. Surprisingly good, man. No, thank you for coming in, man.
No, seriously, is this like a barely gin?
No. It's all the way gin. I mean, so